G'day folks, welcome to the MB Wildman channel. Today's video, we got our first big raccoon off this set that Daddy made, and he's going to teach you how to do it.
On today's video, I'm going to show you a couple of real quick setups at a setup that I call a stream crossing set. Now, I always look for these when I'm out on my line. These are great places to catch both bobcat, fox, coyote, raccoon, all manner of species, especially where it's mid-season here and everything's open. So these are great setups for these. Listen, if you haven't yet subscribed to the MB Wildman channel, we sure would appreciate it. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button, turn on that bell so that you get notified when we upload new content. Wouldn't want you to miss any videos, that's for sure. You can follow us on Instagram at hashtag MB Wildman, and we also have a Facebook page. New email address, if you want, is nbwildman@gmail.com. If you want to send us a message or anything like that, we'd love to hear from you. Any questions, comments, leave those in the comment section down below. Okay, so Elliot and I are out here on the line this morning, and we're walking up this little brook, and we find this beautiful, beautiful, big, what appears to be probably pine or spruce that's fallen years and years ago. And what it creates is it creates a bridge, a natural bridge across this little tiny body of water. Now, this isn't much water, don't get me wrong. Most animals can hop this or run across it with very little effort, but they don't want to. Right, so if you think about bobcats and fox and coyote, they would much rather cross this little stream without getting their feet wet. Okay, I've seen videos before with guys making, you know, like crossover sets, and they've got this huge big log across this huge big river, and it's a lot of work, and you don't need that much. Any little body of water, any little stream that you can't just step across in one step, right? So anything wider than a couple of feet, and animals are going to want to find a crossing area. Okay, so what we found here is a natural, and we're going to set this up a couple different ways. Okay, this extends out onto the bank over here, and it crosses the brook, and it extends out onto the bank over there. Okay, now you can make this if you want to. So if you have a little brook that you're, you know, on your trapping area and you want to make one of these, all you have to do is fall a pretty good sized log, something that they can walk across. So, you know, something about like this, you can follow it across and use it year after year. This does flood in the springtime, and you can see where the water has gone over the grass and stuff. But now that it's fall, you don't have to worry about that, and you can trap this and snare this right up until the end of season. There is a pretty good flow here, so this doesn't freeze until quite late. What we're gonna do here is I'm gonna show you two different setups, and every time that I find one of these places on my trap line, I make this type of set. I put a snare at one end, and I put a leg trap at the other. And again, I'm not targeting any specific species with these sets, because you can catch anything at all that's crossing this brook. Okay, so what we're gonna do, let me grab my gloves here. Elliot, can you so I'm gonna be right there, okay? So just, all right.
Where do you want me to go?
Did you stop it?
No.
Pardon?
No.
Okay, don't stop it, keep going.
Where do you want me to go?
You can go just
okay, over here?
I want you to be able to see up this way, so you can stand right next to that barbed wire right there, okay?
It's still going.
Good.
So whenever you're ready.
Okay. All right, folks, so what we're gonna do, the first thing that I would always do is I would figure out where the best place to put a snare on one end is. For this is the more open end, whereas over there it's a little more gummed up, right? So I'm gonna put the snare out here on this side. What you want to do is you want to put the snare on the crossover far enough out into the brook. Okay, you want to put it far enough out into the brook that they can't avoid the snare. Like if I put it back here with these little trees, this is a pretty good spot to hook the snare in here, but they could hop off anywhere along here. I want to make sure that they're up on the crossover and that they're midway through it before they hit the snare. Okay, I've got my drag pole. I'm going to put the snare on a drag this time. This good rugged piece of hardwood that's down. Okay, so I'm going to put my snare, I'm going to hardwire it to a drag pole that they'll tangle up in after they move it out of here. A couple of reasons for this. First of all, I want to use this set over and over again. So if this was hardwired and the snare was actually attached right here, then a coyote or a fox or a cat or whatever would really mess up this spot, and we wouldn't be able to use this again. But by putting it on a drag, they'll take this somewhere else and get tangled there. Okay, so that's it. Super quick, easy, simple, snares in. Now, where I'm not targeting a specific species, I want to keep my snare loop about 8 inches off the ground, and I want to keep it open about the same size as I would for a coyote or a fox, or somewhere like in between that, right? I don't want it too big. I don't want a fox stepping through it. I don't want a bobcat stepping through it. But I also want to keep it so that I'm going to end up with a cat if they cross the stream. So one quick and easy set on one end of the crossover is a snare, okay? And again, make sure it's out over the crossover enough that they're committed to crossing the log before they get to the snare, okay? These ones are dyed that nice color green that I do. And if you haven't yet seen that video, it's on the channel, how to dull and dye snares in one easy step. And that'll give you this nice forest green color on your snares. Okay, so awesome, that's one side done. The next thing we're gonna do, we're gonna take a trap, leg trap, okay? This is a Duke, right, that I use, and it's a number 14. Big enough for big enough to hold a coyote. A little overkill for a fox or a cat, but anyway, it's we're all set with the with those. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to go to the other end of the crossover with my little axe, little hatchet here. All right. Okay, so I'm going to go to the other end of the crossover, just where it hits the ground, so you can see where the animals have been hopping over that little piece of cedar, coming right down here, and then they got a path right in there, and then up on the bank, and then it goes that way, and it also goes back this way, depending on where that animal wants to go and what it is, right? So what I want to do is I want to take a spot right where they have to commit after they've hopped over that, right in here, this area, and I'm going to set this leg trap. But I don't use a whole lot here, just a few little coverings over the top of the trap, and set my pan tension a little bit. Right, doesn't have to be much, right? Because the animals are already committed to this trail, right? They're coming across there. Now, I do need to do two things. First would be a little tiny bit of a guide stick, because this is pretty wide where I've set that. Now they've hopped over that and they're on the trail, so I've got my trap in the right spot, but I do want to make sure that they don't step around it. And the other thing that I do is I'm going to wire this away from the log. Again, for the same reason as I put the snare on the drag, I want to wire it away so that anything that's caught runs down my lock wire and ends up caught over there somewhere, right? Almost like a drowning rig, except there's not enough water here to drown an animal, so unless it's a mink that's coming across here. But so what I would do is I would put a stake in the ground solid over there and run this through the wire, right? This locking rig, so that as they got caught, they can go that way but not this way, and that allows me to reset this each time. Okay? So anyway, listen, this is called my crossover set. And this is going to take fur. I almost guarantee this is going to take fur. It's already an established trail, and if you can find natural ones of these are gold mines in the trapping here in New Brunswick anyway. And if you can't find a natural and you've got a nice little brook like this, then go ahead and fall a tree across, if you got permission, of course, from the landowner and all that route, and make them a little bridge. It won't take them any time, and they'll start using it. So anyway, listen, I hope this helps you out and something you can use out on your line. So until next time, happy hunting from the MB Wildman channel.